Hello everyone, Luke here. Welcome to another MyTeam video, this time taking place around the Jewel in the Crown on the F1 calendar, one of the hardest circuits in Formula 1. It's time to drive around the streets of Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix. We have done a few upgrades before this race, managed to upgrade the aerodynamics department, so now they'll be able to perform two upgrades at once, which should help us as the season goes on. Also added an extra R&D upgrade in for a weight reduction in the chassis. That should be done just after Azerbaijan in time for the Canadian Grand Prix. We are going to need to perform well in this race. As you can see, our positions are dropping slightly. Still managed to get 9th place in Spain. That does mean I moved up in the Drivers' Championship to 9th position as well. Now tied on points with Daniel Ricciardo. However, we did drop behind Racing Point. Lance Stroll put in a good performance in Spain. So we're down to 7th in the Constructors' Championship. And to be honest, I think it's going to be hard as the season goes on for us to maybe stick with some of those faster teams. But let's see how Monaco goes. See if we can do well in practice to build some resource points and get ready for probably the most important qualifying session of the season. Let's get qualifying underway then for the Monaco Grand Prix. I did eventually manage to get all of the practice programs done. Definitely struggled with a few of them in this car. Don't really have the grip or the downforce needed for this circuit, but trying to do the best I can. I've got an aerodynamics upgrade now coming in for the Canadian Grand Prix, so that might bump us up the pack a bit more as I get very close to the wall there, coming out of Casino Square, deep into that corner as well. Slowest corner now on the F1 circuit, hopping over the curb, not ideal, but it seemed to get me around okay. Hear the wheel spin coming out of that corner. We're dropping a long way down the order here. I've got no straight line speed. I'm going to put so much downforce on the car to ensure we can get around the corners. Gained a few places, it looks like, into the chicane. Now there's full commitment needed through the swimming pool. Not many corners to go now. Raskas and Anthony Oaks to end the gap. Bit of understeer through there, not ideal whatsoever. Flat on the throttle again towards the finish, and we are just going to drop down a place right at the end there. I actually ended up in 18th position on the grid. Not ideal around probably the hardest circuit in the world to overtake on, definitely in Formula 1. Described by Nelson Piquet as
complete,
like riding a bicycle around your living room.
Today. Hamilton, Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
We'll see how well, Raikkonen, our rival, beat us. Boccolacci was last. Says to me the car really doesn't suit around here, because Boccolacci does normally do better than that. We weren't far off Raikkonen and Magnussen. I think if I'd have been a bit better through Raskas, might have finished ahead of the pair of them, so we'll lose out on the rivalry in this qualifying session to Raikkonen. Hopefully though we can make it up with the race.
Formula 1 returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863. And, of course, a certain road race, first held here in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars climb around 40 metres up through Beau Rivage, onto the casino, and then descending down towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners here, 7 to the left and 11 to the right. There's one single DRS zone as well, so don't expect that to make overtaking any easier today. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Can we talk about Mercedes? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Albon, Ricciardo, Perez, Norris and Carlos Sainz, Ocon, Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi and Grosjean, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen and the owner driver. Gasly, Russell, Latifi and Dorian Boccolacci. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So I think this is going to be a tough race to actually get any points for us. Maybe even struggle to get in the top 12, to be honest, starting from way down on the grid in a team. Strategy-wise, we're going to go for something different. Normally I try the one stop. Today I'm going to try the two stop. Just try and have a bit of fun around this circuit. Make sure I don't get stuck in traffic. This should, if I'm stuck behind a slower car in front, it should at least release me. The problem is if I then pit and get stuck behind another slower car, it will definitely cause me problems. Pit strategy, oh so crucial around here. Let's hope we can get a good start. We tend to do okay at most of the races on the first lap. I think I'm going to need a similar performance to try and get anything out of this Monaco Grand Prix. Another decent launch. Can we go around the outside of some of these cars through Sandavot? Giovinazzi's been held up slightly. We're going to be side by side up the hill, but I'm going to have the inside for the next corner. Just all got a bit close there. I'm down the outside for the next one. Still just about there. But I think I've nearly managed to get past him. He'll get held up by Ocon, thankfully. Well, I might be able to just sneak past here as we're nearly stationary. Coming round the hairpin. Yeah, we managed to get ahead of Ocon as well. We are up into that.
Decent start. Good job.
That all-important 12th place, and I think this is going to be crucial if I am two-stopping for me to take advantage of the pace of these tyres. Those on the mediums will only be one stopping, so I need to push like hell in these first few laps of this race. Try and stay on the back of those faster guys up front, build a gap to those behind, and see where I am round about the pit stop period. But a very good start for myself to the Monaco Grand Prix, up already from 18th on the grid into 12th position. Going on to lap 4 then, we are very close to the back of Lance Stroll. Fortunately, he has DRS, and of course this is the Monaco Grand Prix. Overtaking is a near impossibility, so if I do want to get ahead of Stroll, and I'm not too fussed about that to be honest, don't mind just using DRS to stay in range of him and the McLaren of Carlos Sainz up ahead, because I feel that Sainz might be on the same strategy as myself, so don't mind just staying in contact with these two until I come into the pits, which is due at the end of lap 8. Here we are then, time for our first pit stop of the race. This will drop us all the way down to the back of the field, and it doesn't seem like anyone else is pitting. Now we'll have to see how this strategy works out. It could be risky if I get stuck in a lot of traffic.
Release, release. Only one stop to go. One stop left in this strategy.
Nearly binning it straight out the pits there, which isn't ideal. Yeah, and a tiny bit of front wing damage done. That's never what you need around the Monte Carlo circuit. So we are now down in last position. Let's see how we do on these medium tyres. See how long I can go on these, because if I do go for a second stop, I might be able to do it on the soft tyres. We'll wait and see. Can I maybe chuck one at the inside at the hairpin? This is always risky. Not the cleanest move I've ever done. Latifi still battling hard, but I did need to get past him sooner rather than later, and I am ahead of the Williams now, so not as clean as I'd have liked that to be, but I am now up one position, up into 21st place. See how quickly I can get onto the back of Gasly, Boccolacci and Magnussen.
Perez is in the pits.
We have managed to jump a few cars in the pit stop, namely Perez and Sainz, and as you can see I've come out right behind Daniel Ricciardo, so it would have been nice to actually jump Ricciardo as well, so that might be a couple of places gained, and we'll see how this strategy goes towards the end of the race. We are now a third of the way through. I started in 18th, made one pit stop, and that is why I am down in 19th place, but if these medium tyres might last towards the end, it might be worth me just staying out as long as I possibly can. So Albon and Norris have just made their pit stops as well. We have come out ahead of them, so are now up into 17th position, and we are in the mother of all queues at the moment. Ricciardo is stuck behind Gasly, Verstappen's right up the back of Boccolacci, not too far up ahead. Basically everyone who's started on the soft tyres has already pitted. Makes me think that they're all going to try a two-stop strategy, so I might see if I can stretch this out into a one-stopper as I try and go up the inside of Ricciardo. And I've just about made that stick. Didn't intend to get anywhere near Gasly, so I was lucky not to damage my car or get beached there, but we have gained a position. We are right on the back of Pierre Gasly now. Can we chuck one down the inside into the chicane? Just about managed to do so. Get a bit of wheel spin on the exit, but that's also up another couple of places. Ricciardo
Gap to the car in front is
and Perez also got past Gasly there, so that didn't go well for the AlphaTauri driver, but I have gained a couple of places on this lap as Ricciardo sent one up the inside of me that I wasn't expecting. Nearly crashed into me. Got a bit of a taste of my own medicine, but I've managed to hold that off, and I'm now up into 15th. Down the inside of the hairpin again, this time on Max Verstappen. We made that stick as well, so up into 14th position. Seems to be, if it's a DRS zone, I can't overtake on this game. Anywhere else seems to be fair game to try and move, and the AI do seem pretty slow.
some information on Norris. They are out of the race.
Do seem pretty slow through that hairpin, so that might be an opportunity for me throughout the race. I'm also starting to think, has everyone else who's just put the medium tyres on, they're also going for a two-stop. Might it be worth me trying a really long stint on these tyres? Just seeing if I can get them to the end of the race. So quite a few of the medium runners have now taken their one and only pit stop. That has bumped us up into 9th position, and I am now really considering, given the fact that I've done 10 laps on these tyres already and they're only at 22%, just seeing if I can stretch these out until the end. Somehow we are up to 5th place after everyone has done their pit stops. We really took advantage of just pitting a lap or two earlier than everyone else. Gained a few places with the undercut, and as you can see, 5th position for now, a long way behind Vettel and Bottas, as I'm not sure, no, I didn't break my front wing anymore. Probably was a better place to check that than the hairpin, if I'm being honest, but as you can see, there is a few of faster cars forming behind me. This is going to get tough to defend as the race goes on. Into the final 10 laps then of the Monaco Grand Prix. Every now and then Ricciardo and Perez seem to catch up and then start to drop back again, and I'm really struggling with understeer now through some of these corners, but I think I've pretty much committed myself to getting these tyres towards the end of the race. They should do that comfortably. I'm surprised they feel as bad as they do, to be honest. Let's just see what I can do. Bottas and Vettel so far up the road, they're pulling away 2-3 seconds a lap now, really. It's all about keeping these cars behind us and seeing if we can somehow, for starting 18th for the Monaco Grand Prix, finish in the top 5. Five laps to go then in the Monaco Grand Prix, and I'm still somehow hanging on to this 5th position. Well, I say somehow, Ricciardo hasn't really gone through a move for a long, long time, to be honest. Every now and then he looks as though he's going to poke his nose up the inside somewhere and then decides against it. So that hairpin feels absolutely dreadful now. But I think as long as I'm careful going into the chicane and going into Sandy Rock, I don't think he's going to go for a lunge anyway. You can see I've just used the ERS and my spare fuel to just pull away enough coming through the tunnel so he can't get alongside me into the braking zone. And then if I keep doing this for the next few laps, that should be enough.
Front is 36.6 seconds.
Here we go then, final lap of
This is your
Monaco
final lap of the race.
Grand Prix. We're still holding on. Ricciardo has actually dropped back a tiny bit. Lewis Hamilton, he was in that massive train of cars behind me. He takes a victory. You can see Bottas and Vettel, sorry, 3/4 of a minute up the road from me, and I'm just hoping that I can keep it clean around this final minute or so. Try and get our best result of the season by a long way. Our most unexpected result. Didn't really expect to get any points around this track. Made a late decision really
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
to stick to a one-stop strategy, knowing that it's very tough for everyone else to overtake around here, and that might just pay off. Only a few corners to go. No way would I have finished this high up if I'd have stuck with that 2-stop strategy. I know the game said it was quicker, but that doesn't take into account getting stuck in traffic, as a lot of these guys behind me have found out. And as we come across the final corner now, head towards the finish line, it is our best result of the season, 5th position, 10 fantastic points for the
Take care
team.
of the car on the way in.
Earning myself driver of the day. Obviously getting up from 18th to 5th at Monaco is not something you see too often. And Lewis Hamilton taking the victory. Guessing that meant Leclerc second and Bottas in 3rd position. But yeah, was not expecting to be anywhere near that high up the field, to be perfectly honest. Somehow managed to just hang on to those tyres towards the end. They were getting very tricky around some of them corners, especially around that hairpin. I was struggling to just keep it on track and out of the barriers really. That's why I had to take so much curb towards the end, just to make sure I could get the car around as we wait for the results to come up. God, it'd be a shame now if the game froze and I had to do it all again at some point. I mean, you guys wouldn't know if you're hearing this, and I clearly didn't do it all again at some point, and the game did decide to load eventually. Perhaps they're even in shock. There we go. Up to podium pass level 18 we will be. So we do unlock some gloves for that. That's what I've always wanted.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I'm going to give it to the owner driver today. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So Boccolacci actually managed to get ahead of Latifi and Gasly. I think he did that right at the start, to be honest. And yeah, all these guys, it says they were a lap down. I feel they were all in the queue behind me at the end of this race. I mean, when Vettel pitted, he came out about 5 seconds ahead of me and just looked 46 seconds ahead at the end. In the driver's standings, that bumps me up another place. Both McLarens retired, so I jump Sainz. Ricciardo does as well. I'm now up into 8th position, and in the Constructors' Championship, right on the back of Racing Point as well. Only 2 points off them, only 6 points off of McLaren for 5th place, which is somewhere I didn't expect to be. Like, surely that this luck is going to run out, because I did not expect to be that high up in this race. I think it's going to be difficult to do well in Azerbaijan next time out. Let's have a chat with Claire.
Your way through the field today. What was your strategy?
Bump the chassis department up again, get them feeling good.
Would you say we all underestimated you? Do you have any comments about the collisions?
I don't have any comments about the collisions, and I'm sure she's going to be delighted that I don't have any.
Appreciate your time.
Well, she was fairly happy with that. Sometimes she gets a bit mardy when I don't have a chat with her at the end of the race. But there we go, that is the Monaco Grand Prix over. The one I was really dreading didn't end too bad. Managed to get some good points in the rivalry as well with Raikkonen. So I won't be too far off getting ahead of him now. Boccolacci going up driver acclaim level. Getting all our nice cash, which will help us as we are short. And if we don't start building our cash up soon, we probably won't be able to afford a second driver, which isn't ideal, seeing as you need 2 to run an F1 team. And that is pretty much it then for this video. Monaco out of the way. Qualified in 18th, had a great first lap. Then that early pit stop was originally on the 2-stop strategies, changed my mind to make the 1-stop work, and work it definitely did. And the contracts of one or more of your sponsors are up for renewal, so we'll deal with that next time around, where we will also be going around another street circuit. This time it is around the streets of Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I hope to see you there. Give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment as well if there's anything else you'd like to see from me, and I will see you all next time around.